as I always tell you, making sure that the public is informed. As we mentioned earlier this morning, we're continuing with our updates, and this is a little after 5 p.m., so forgive me for that, but we got here as quickly as possible. We have made taken additional steps. We have also started to do debris removal, particularly along the Basin Avenue. Also, we'll give you updates on vehicle removals, as well as a memorial that we hope to do on Friday. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Tim McConnell to give you updates. Thank you. Chief?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have moved from rescue into recovery. It's a difficult decision to make, but it is all our evidence has proven that we are now in recovery mode. Our hearts go out to the family of the people who were lost, and to the one individual who we have never actually been able to put our sights on, but all of our indicators have proven that he did not survive this tragedy. We are currently in the investigation. Their investigators flew in, and we got them on the scene as quick as possible, and it's been a good partnership working with them for this investigation. We will begin to get some vehicles out of the garage that's right behind the structure on Iberville Street. Our teams, firefighters, are organizing, getting those vehicles out. This is being done for a safety reason. As we go to take this building down, as we're working to do, at some time in the future, those cars all have gasoline to a conclusion on the site that it sits on. However, we have to prepare for the worst in case things don't go exactly as we plan them to go. So they'll begin to get all those vehicles out. We ask that folks call if you have a vehicle in there that you need to get out. You contact 311, and we will work with you to have firefighters retrieve your vehicle and get it out. That is being coordinated through the fire department. We know some of the hotels have the majority of the cars there with their employees. We have gone to those hotels and are working to get the vehicles moved out. As we said earlier, and the mayor mentioned, we are moving debris. We've begun our process to be able to let the engineers get a little closer to take a look at this building. We've moved debris. We're in the process right now of moving debris off of Rampart Street to allow us to get a crane in there to lift the engineers up so they can begin their assessment and try and figure out a little bit more, as they've been doing all along, but to get a little bit further in our steps to get these towers down before this bad weather comes in. Thank you.
Thank you. Colin, you want to just add?
Good evening, everybody. Just like to reiterate, this is for the premium parking garage, 200 North Rampart only. There's about 200 cars in there. Present a public safety issue with the mitigation of what's going on at the Hard Rock Hotel. So call 311, identify yourself, your vehicle. You will be contacted by the fire department, and a time will be scheduled for you to come with your keys and your ID, and a fireman will retrieve your vehicle. And that's how we're going to do this. That is just for this building again. Little update on the weather. There's not really actually that much to update. It's similar to this morning. 20, 25, 30 mile an hour winds if this does actually develop, and the accompanying rain of 1 to 2 inches. So we will be monitoring this, continue to monitor it very closely. Thank you.
That is pretty much the update that we have to share with you at this time. And so we'll move into questions. Latanya, WWL.
With it now being a recovery mode, that changes search and rescue, which changes everything else. What are people going to start seeing now in the next few days in terms of activity out here?
You're going to see us preparing the site to keep the structure safe. So we have not changed our risk here with these towers being up and with the structure. I don't want to say imminent collapse, but it is a very, very precarious structure from everything that the experts have told us. So you're going to start seeing us prepare the site to be able to put engineers closer to the building, get a real close-up look at it, and then based on their data and information, make a decision on exactly how we're going to take it down.
And it's just the cranes right now you're trying to take down?
Right now, yes. Right now, ahead of the bad weather, is to be able to take the cranes down. Working hard to make sure that happens.
Can you
the issue?
How many inches has the crane shifted? I know yesterday it was about an inch. Do we know how many inches the crane has moved so far?
I apologize that I don't have that exact information, but what's happening is it's moving back and forth, which is very bad, right? It has shifted a little bit and then shifted back, and so that movement is not supposed to be making that movement.
It's happening.
Even in normal situations. So we are. We'll get to that information, but I think it's about an inch.
Several times today, though, with that movement. Unlike yesterday, it was that one shift. Today, we've seen multiple.
When they go to the buckets, the engineers go up, what will they be looking at and what will they be doing once they get in those buckets that you described?
They'll be looking at the structure itself, the legs and the cross members and everything, and trying to figure out how do you bring it down. You want to bring this thing's not meant to collapse, right? So they're looking at what do you have to do, what do you have to weaken, where do you have to, whether it be attach something to it or, as we talked about earlier, do you use explosives of some kind?
Both on the Alpha side and the Bravo chart. That's internal talk. Sorry about that. But the focus is on the two crane towers. In addition to, there is a wall on the Alpha side, the front of the building, that pretty much is just there. We're very much concerned about that. So first phase of this will be dealing with the cranes, the tower cranes, as well as that wall.
Chief,
USA Today and then Fox 8.
Can you go into further detail about any talks on how to get these cranes more detail you can shine on?
I don't want to say I can't. There are a lot of engineers, and there. I hate to estimate how many it is, 25, 30 engineers, and I will tell you once again with all due faith, these are the best in the business. And they're in there doing their calculations and trying to figure out what's the best way. The methodology is the two things I talked about. You have to weaken it in some kind of way, in such a way that it'll come down where you want it to come down. And so that's what the talk is about, and that's what they want to get up there and assess.
Is it both getting the cranes down and doing kind of a controlled demolition of the building itself?
Not at this time. Actually, that's out of our control versus having something that's within our control.
So, Chief, now we're moving into recovery mode, and obviously there are still two people inside. I mean, what's that going to look like for the future? I mean, we keep saying this building could collapse.
Yes, so part of dropping them down exactly where they stand, bringing them all down there, is not bringing them down where the two individuals are. A lot of effort went to making sure that they don't come down in the two locations where the individuals are. So one individual is, we believe, is between the two cranes. So and the other one's on the very back side of the building towards Iberville. And the goal is, with the plan, is to try and, once again, when they do their assessment, to try and figure out how you don't drop them in those two areas. So that we can go in with heavy equipment, pick through the rubble. I think we talked about it this morning. Pick through that rubble and get to the people.
Yes.
Remember, on floor 11, 18 floors. Do the math.
Matt.
Chief, do you think you can bring those cranes down without damaging the kind of concrete base of the structure?
I'm going to let my engineers drive that decision, and the goal is yes. We hope that we can, and the belief is that we. No, I says no. I cannot without damaging that concrete base. It is already damaged and in a very precarious position. And when you drop that crane down on that concrete base, common sense tells you it's 145 tons up there at the top of that crane. So from the basket where that carries the driver of the crane, and then the cross members, 145 tons.
Yeah, the priority.
I'm sorry, 145,000 pounds.
Yes.
145,000 pounds. So, once again, just do the math. You can't bring them down without doing some damage.
Yeah, and the priority is not the bottom part of that building. It is doing this in a way to where we can retrieve the bodies that are there. They matter, and we're wanting, again, dignity, respect throughout this entire process.
Anyone else?
Can you kind of just talk about the response from the city? I mean, this has been a huge project and one of our own almost. I mean, fiance to an OPD officer. This is kind of personal.
City of New Orleans, and not only that, we have had lives lost right here in our core. Families who are impacted, who are absolutely a part of the fabric of the city of New Orleans. And the response, to your point, it has been a unified command all branches of public safety pulling together, working together. And I have to say, we have just been receiving just an outpour comments from the construction community. Done everything necessary, and we'll continue to do, to be cooperative and to show love and respect to the families, but at the same time to the city and the community.
You all have said that OSHA is kind of leading the investigation here. Is law enforcement also involved, looking at any kind of potential criminal implications of this collapse?
What OSHA determines will decide whether it winds up leading to a criminal investigation.
Right.
Well, OSHA and obviously we have our own investigation through our safety and permits that we're doing. But the investigation, you've heard me say it. I know it's not a broken record. The investigation will take you where it takes you, and if there's neglect, it certainly could be.
All right. Last question, WWL.
In terms of the OSHA investigation, is this the first day they're here, or we saw some wandering around on Rampart?
OSHA has been on the scene and on the ground since Saturday. Every single day they have been present, and every single day we have been responsive, and we have been accommodating whatever their needs are. And even to the point of supplying them with NOPD body cams to ensure that they capture all of the necessary information and be able to document accordingly. We are being responsive and working in a collaborative manner.
Are they kind of in charge of the investigation now, or does that change at all when you go from
Parallel
rescue to-
investigations.
At
They're
this
conducting
point.
their investigation. We're in full cooperation with them. We're embedded with them. Partners in this investigation.
But the city of New Orleans continues to be the lead right now under the leadership of our Fire Chief, Tim McConnell.
Traffic patterns. People are going to be coming into this area to get their cars. I mean, call 311. Our traffic patterns.
They will be brought to a location. They'll be directed to go to a location. We'll gather their information, ensure it's their car, get their keys, get the car, and bring it back to them. No one's coming to get their car. The firefighters will be getting the cars and bringing them to the location where the people are directed to.
Controlled environment every step of the way, and I've used the term like a valet service pretty much. The firemen will provide that service, but it will be a controlled environment from start to finish.
Right, last question.
Have any of the engineers been able to weigh in on the video that kind of made the rounds today showing?
That'll wind up being part of the investigation. We have seen it. We're well aware of it. It's provided to everybody, and that'll certainly be part of the investigation and our evaluation of what caused it.
Thank you all.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.